Greetings, everybody, and I decided, hey, it's Monday, let's do another live stream. And I was trying to think of what to talk about, and recently I've just been playing a lot of the PlayStation Vita, and I've had my Vita for quite some time, like I think since 2010 at least. And needless to say, being a constant PlayStation Plus member, I've racked up a huge amount of PlayStation Vita games to play. And that's not even counting the games I've purchased physically, and I'm going to show those to you because it's a little harder to show digital games on a live stream on my phone. But yeah, I have a lot of games for the Vita, and honestly, every month there seems to be another two that PlayStation gives me that I don't already have. So I don't think I'm ever going to run out of games to play for this system, and the games that I do own, I would definitely go back to and play again, at least the few that I've completed, that's for sure. I want to hear from you, because to me, the PlayStation Vita is one of my all-time favorite handhelds, and that's usually really rare to say for a system that I mean, a lot of people say the system's dead, but they're still releasing games for it every week. So I don't know why people are saying it's dead. I guess because there's no big AAA support, but you know what, on a handheld I don't really want a whole bunch of AAA games. I find it's actually harder to play on the handheld. That being said, I still appreciate it, and remote play, when it works well, can be awesome playing your PS4 games on this system. It's unfortunate, though, that the touchpads never really worked out well on the back. The touchscreen on the front is perfectly fine and can be used quite well with certain games, but anyway, I'm on a rant here. System's awesome. I love it. You should buy it. It's great. And I'm just going to show you I'm going to show you my physical games, physical, in no particular order, and let you know if I highly recommend it or if it's just, decent or good. First off, I haven't beaten every single one of the games I own for my Vita, so I will also let you know how much or if I beat the game. Up first is actually one that I have yet to really get deep into. It's actually on my list, but right now I am currently playing through Persona 4 Golden. I might as well show this first since this is what I am currently playing. And I am about 22 hours into the game, so I have a long way to go. It's awesome. Recommend it. A lot of people will say if you own the Vita, this is the one game you must own. And so far, I will agree that it is a really great game, and there's so much value for what you get because it's hours and hours of gameplay. And being able to choose kind of certain outcomes for your character, be it relationships or whatnot, is also pretty intriguing. And I mean, anyone who's played Persona knows what I'm talking about. It's just a great turn-based RPG that you rarely see in this day and age. Well, I think they're making a comeback, but you know what? At the time this came out, it was awesome, and this was being the remastered, definitive version of Persona 4. You should buy it. If you own a Vita, you should buy it if you don't already have it. My biggest recommendation. And I'm not even done the game, and I'm going to keep playing because that's literally the only game I really feel like playing right now, and I have so many games to play. I have so many games old and on the PS4, and yeah. That being said, alright, I might as well just show you the RPGs that I have physical copies of. So obviously Persona 4 Golden. Up next here I have Final Fantasy X and X-2. I really like 10. I didn't really like 10-2 all that much, and having it portable was awesome. I love playing this on the PS2 back when it came out, and so having an HD remaster. I also have this on the PS3. I also have a limited edition of it, but gotta have it on the go because Square Enix doesn't want to give you cross-buy. That would be great if they did that, because I hate having to buy the same game on multiple systems, and I should own Final Fantasy X, X-2 on PS3, PS4, and the Vita. But no, I still have to buy it on the PS4. All right, up next, might as well stick with Square Enix. I have World of Final Fantasy. I really tried to get into this. I found the first half of the game was kind of slow, and I really didn't like the mechanics that they introduced with it. I regret buying this for the sole reason that the other game I was going to buy at the time was Dragon Quest Builders on the Vita, which is now insanely impossible to find for a good price. And I actually really liked that game. I played the demo on the Vita, thought it was amazing, and I was like, I could invest hours upon hours. But no, I had to go for Final Fantasy Pokemon because, dumb. Dumb decisions at the time. Not a terrible game. If you're really diehard Final Fantasy fan, you might like it. I mean, it does have a lot of callbacks in it, but I definitely couldn't finish the game. I got a few hours in and I was like, no. But one game that is up there as well with Persona 4 Golden, for me anyway, is Tales of Hearts R on the PlayStation Vita. This is also not quite so easy to come by. But if you are a fan of Tales of games, this one here should not be overlooked. It is amazing. It is a perfect game for the Vita and such a great sense of humor. I played this start to finish. No breaks in between. I didn't play any other games at the time I was playing into this, and it is so good. Plays well. It's actually a great RPG for the Vita and one that I highly recommend. That is Tales of Hearts R. Like pirates. Alright, one that I would like to highly recommend, but I can't because I've not played the game, is Ys. This is being the Memories of Salsetta, or however you want to say it. This being the collector's edition that is still factory sealed, and I have not opened it. And at this point, I'm just kind of hoping that Sony's going to give it as a free game, because I want to keep this sealed, because you don't come across these very often anymore. And I love the Ys series, and I'm kind of disappointed that Ys Origins, a downloadable only title for the Vita and the PS4, and it's cross-buy. See? Cross-buy. Square Enix, you need to do that. Cross-buy on both systems. So you buy it once you get it. And it's actually like quite cheap. It's only like $26 Canadian or something like that. Yes, Canadian pricing. I don't know. It's probably cheaper for anyone anywhere else in the world. You should get that. That's another one that you should get. But again, I don't have a physical copy, and I don't think there ever is going to be one. So it is what it is. Anyway, next game. One that this is the original one that I was saying I should look into, is Dragon's Crown. I have played a few minutes of this to start off, and so far it looks like a lot of fun. It's just, I said I would finish Persona 4, so Persona 4 is getting finished first before I get into any other Vita games. Needless to say, every month my back catalog is getting bigger and bigger. I have so many digital games, it's just crazy. I'm rambling. Alright. Next up, a game that recently was announced to have a sequel, and that will be The Wolf Among Us, this being the PlayStation Vita version. And honestly, if we're being real, the PlayStation Vita versions of Telltale games tend to be ridiculously meddled with horrible load times, and tend to have a lot of glitches. But if you can persevere and you want that experience on the go, which, to be honest, I only played it on the Vita. I'm lying. I did a live stream of the PlayStation 4 version as well. But I'm so happy this game got a sequel. It is one of my all-time favorite Telltale Games series. I guess it's now considered a series because there's a sequel. You should play it. You should check it out. It is amazing. And yeah, I don't want to say anything more because you need to experience that game and that story. I beat that game. Yeah. Alright, next up. The only first-person shooter that I played on the Vita that I actually really recommend, and again, a AAA title, which is something you rarely see on the Vita, Killzone Mercenary. Definitely recommend picking this up for the single player. I don't even know, I've never dived into the multiplayer since I originally got the game, and I don't know if people still play it, but I'm sure being one of the only great Vita first-person shooters that there probably is still people playing it. Probably a whole bunch of cheaters at this point, because anyone who played Killzone Liberation on the PSP knows what I'm talking about. If that game's still going on right now, check that shit out, because, yeah, you gotta be a god to survive that game. Anyway, rambling on. Another game that you should pick up, for the sole fact of having it on the go, is the Metal Gear Solid HD collection, and this is Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3. For some reason, they don't want to give you Peace Walker because you can download the PSP version of the game on the PlayStation Vita, but if you bought the PS3 version, it came with a console version of Peace Walker. Yeah. Whatever, anyway, this is still worth owning because it's two great Metal... Well, to me, I'm a huge fan of Metal Gear 2. I couldn't really get into Metal Gear 3. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. But Metal Gear 2 was, yeah, fucking amazing. Anyway, moving on. Another collection that you should pick up. And a lot of people will debate it. And you know what? Jak and Daxter collection has a lot of issues. Yes. But it is a great 3 games from Naughty Dog that are worth owning. Like, honestly, think about it. Jak and Daxter on a portable system is pretty amazing as is. So yes, you're going to have some issues with the games, but you know what? It was nothing that I couldn't play through and still enjoy the game. So, I mean, it's Jak and Daxter 1, 2, and 3. They're classic games on the PlayStation 2. Of course I want an HD remaster on the Vita. And that's like a huge value, 3 games. You know, what else gives you that kind of quality? Yeah. Anyway, up next, a game that I was given, and it's nothing crazy. I mean, if you played one of the games, you kind of know what you're getting into, and I kind of have a love-hate thing with this series, because sometimes the games can be great, but in the end, you're basically doing the same thing in every game, and that's the Lego games. This being Lego Jurassic World, every game is basically the same. Break bricks, collect bricks, build things, solve puzzle, gather those coins or whatever, and buy, unlock characters, and play through the story of those games. Lather, rinse, repeat. Still, that being said, if you're a fan of the Lost World or the Jurassic World or Jurassic Park series, I guess it is, this one's not that bad. And you know what? On the Vita, it was a lot of fun. I played through it on a road trip, and it's a quick kind of jump in, jump out if you're not trying to complete the game. And, you know, it's pretty decent adaptation of the series, and you get to play as dinosaurs, so, yeah, dinosaurs are cool. Up next, a game that is coming out soon on the PlayStation 4. It's Hot Shots Golf. This is the World Invitational, the only one on the PSP that I'm aware of, but it's Hot Shots Golf, or Everybody's Golf, which is coming to the PlayStation 4 next month, which is starting tomorrow, is next month, so this month, depending on when you watch it, or in the past. Anyway, it's golf. It's Hot Shots Golf. It's awesome. You should play it. It's the only golf game I will ever enjoy and go back to and buy multiple times over and over. Alright, into sports games. I always tend to have a few sports games for every system, and I always have to own a baseball game. I'm a fan of baseball. Anyway, anyone who checked out that Jays game on Sunday knows what I'm talking about. Grand Slam. Oh my god, yeah. Anyway, MLB The Show 2012. You gotta own one version of the show if you have a Sony system. That's the way I look at it. The show is a great game, not just a great sports game, just a great game in general. The Show 12 is not the best version. It's just the only one that I own, and I will not buy another version of the game unless someone gives it to me. Then that's the exception. I own a version of the show on PS3 and PS4 as well. Yeah. Anyway, and also you got to own at least one racing game on this system. I own quite a few. Most of them are digital though. But I do own 2 physical racing games. One of them being F1 2011. Very much what you would expect an F1 simulator on the Vita. Graphics, nothing to speak highly about. They are adequate for what the game is, and it's F1. If you're into that kind of shit and you want to play it on the go, you should check it out. I had fun with it. It's not the best version of the game. Obviously, get it on the higher end home console, but hey, for a portable one, decent, you know? That being said, though, if you are to own a racing game on the Vita, you should get Wipeout 2048. Such a good game. So good, in fact, that they did it in an HD collection for the PlayStation 4, which I also own. But this on the Vita, you got it on the go. You know what I mean? Like, that's amazing. And Wipeout is such a great series. I said it in other videos that it's too bad that Nintendo doesn't want to continue with F-Zero, at least for the moment in time. I love F-Zero. I love futuristic hover racing kind of shit. Anytime I see one of those games, provided they're not garbage, I'm going to play it. And Wipeout is excellent. Highly recommend it. You have to play that game. You got to do it. All right, moving along. I have only a few more games to show you, and then, I'm just going to leave some final thoughts at that. Up next, I have some superhero games. And first one being the Amazing Spider-Man, a mediocre movie and kind of a mediocre game, but you know what? If you love open world Spider-Man games, that's what this is on the Vita. Now, the thing that sucks about this version is this game was also ported to the Nintendo 3DS, I believe, at the same time, and unfortunately the Vita version is literally the port of the 3DS game, just with controls for the Vita and not the 3DS. Unfortunately, that means horrible slowdown times and texture pop-in, and almost at one moment in playing the game, I had a frame rate of like so slow that it looked like the game was freezed frame. That being said, that was only during a cutscene that didn't impact the actual gameplay, and I managed to beat the game. Had a good time, and again, open world Spider-Man game, kind of what you would expect from a open world Spider-Man game, you know. So go into that one with warning, but it's fun. Next up, Batman Origins, or Arkham Origins Blackgate. It's Batman. That should all that need to be said, but this is a Batman Metroidvania type game on the Vita, and it's amazing. It's Batman. Like, it's fucking Batman on the Vita. Buy it. Own it. That's it. Alright, 2 more games. Up next, last superhero game. Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. I believe this was an early launch window game. And, I mean, think about that. Marvel vs. Capcom 3 is a launch game on the Vita. That's a fucking amazing fighting game, and I'm super hyped for the new Marvel vs. Capcom that's coming out shortly. But this on the go, one of the, I think, the best version of Marvel vs. Capcom 3, the Ultimate Edition, on the Vita. I also own it on the PS3 as well. Not PS4. I haven't caved in yet. That might happen someday. I almost did a few weeks ago when it was on sale. Anyway, last game. Last physical game that I own that I'm going to show you is Earth Defense Force 2. Invaders from Planet Space. Yeah. It's EDF on the go. If you like giant monster movies and you like being a badass and shooting shit, then you should check out Earth Defense Force 2 on the Vita. Totally worth your time. And it's Earth Defense Force on the go. Which there's a few, I think, actually on the go. But this one being on the Vita, and I think the last one that they released for the Vita anyway. You should check it out. And I don't think it goes for quite a bit of money. I could be wrong. I have not looked online since, but I know at one point I was coming up for around $15 to $20. So totally worth your time. Totally worth playing it. Now, that being said, I've come to the end of my rant for the day. And you know what? PlayStation Vita, a lot of people discredit it and think of it as a dead console. At this moment in time, I would disagree. I would say it's still very much alive. There's still games coming out for it. There's still huge RPGs that are coming out. And there's always going to be those indies that are going to be there for as long as Sony allows them to be there and put stuff out on it. So I don't foresee the system going away for quite some time. It's just extra revenue for Sony. And it's a system that the people who own it, like myself, we love it. And we buy games and we get all these extra freebies from PlayStation Plus if you have PlayStation Plus. I couldn't even count the amount of back catalog I have in digital titles for that system, and I don't foresee anytime soon Sony ever making a handheld system. However, um, maybe their new home console might be a hybrid system. That's the only thing I could see kind of doing like this Switch, and it would make sense because Nintendo's having a huge success with the Nintendo Switch. That if Sony's not thinking of some kind of hybrid console handheld portable, or making a PlayStation 4 that is portable, they could be potentially losing out on extra market share. Who knows? I don't know. I'm personally, I'm someone who has the Nintendo Switch on my list of systems to buy. Just a matter of when I buy it, and probably going to be sooner rather than later because they already have Cave Story, one of my all-time favorite games ever. And there's going to be Mario Odyssey and Metroid Prime. So those alone with Zelda make me want to buy that system. I hope Sony keeps supporting the Vita for a long time until they decide to make another handheld, because if they do not make another handheld, I will be very disappointed. I know a lot of other people will be as well. I love the PSP, thought it's one of the best portable systems with some of the best library of games, and if you go back and look at some of the PSP games, you'll see there's gem after gem after gem, and the Vita also has that. Just not as high profile, but there are some excellent games there for it. I want to know what yours are. Leave them in the comments below. Anyone who made it to this point of the video, thank you very much for listening to me rant. I'm Retro Forward. You can follow me on Twitter at retro_forward. And you can find me anywhere else in cyberspace. Just search me up. You might also find some singer. That is not me. I'm the one who talks about video games and music and nerdy stuff. Thank you very much for watching. And as always, please like and subscribe. And tell me in the comments below what you'd like to see next. Thank you, and Retro Forward. Bye.